It was now 1979. Doctor Who had launched in 1963 on the television. It had been going weekly for the last 16 years. It had never had its own title. It had an audience of 8 or 9 million a week. I thought I'd like a piece of that. But the funny thing was, when I went up to the BBC, they'd seen me on television the night before, because by this absurd coincidence that you can't make up, there'd been a programme on BBC One. It had someone from Mary Quant, someone from Walt Disney and me. And I was saying about what a success The Hulk had been, which we'd launched at 300,000 copies. I was sitting in my Orson Welles chair with a big window. And so when the very next day I went up to the BBC, they'd apparently, Enterprise as they were called, it was the licensing arm of the BBC, they'd been told they would be in it, in the programme. The BBC had filmed them. It had filmed itself to be part of this programme, but they'd ended up on the cutting room floor. But not before the boss had told all of his employees to watch this programme that was on at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night, because they were going to be in it. So everyone had seen me. And I turned up the next day with my Doctor Who dummy, you know, a sort of scissor and paste up, cut up version of the real thing, in my hand to see if I could convince them to let me produce the title as a weekly comic. I couldn't believe how they agreed. I just said, here's the dummy. And they went, yep, okay. And I'm like, the dummy. No, it's good. Yep. After that, as I had with Hammer Films, I would only see them when I delivered printed copies, just to say, here we go, here's half a dozen of the latest issue. They would open the drinks cupboard and we'd just have a nice evening. But with the Doctor Who crowd, with the BBC Enterprise, it came up in conversation. I said I couldn't believe how easily I got the rights to Doctor Who, for heaven's sake, you know. And he said, well, we saw you on TV the night before and you looked so powerful, we were scared. And I thought, I scared the BBC? Wow. Fortunately, it was the sort of product that Tom Baker, who was then playing Doctor Who, wanted to promote. He believed in the character he was playing. He was Doctor Who. It wasn't just a job that he did when he wasn't doing a different acting job. He was Doctor Who. So when I was going to launch it, Tom agreed, without charging for this, that he would join me, that we would go up to Birmingham and we would sit there with glasses of wine and cucumber sandwiches talking to W.H. Smiths and all of the other distributors. And they came out to see us because there was going to be a TV actor there. It was a great little bandwagon, really. And we took it around the country, Tom and I. We went everywhere with it. We even went to a couple of comics conventions, the biggest one being in Brighton. We went to the World Science Fiction Convention, who of course looked down their nose at us because we were television and comics. I mean, you don't get much worse than that. They were literate beings, and we were seriously the dark side of the industry, you know. But we launched the magazine effectively 250,000 again, that 250,000 that you always used to launch at. And it's still going today. And I'm pleased to say I've got 4 Guinness World Records because I created it, and it's become the world's longest running TV tie-in magazine.